Welcome. Oh, so it's a nice cozy evening here on Kauai. It's raining a little and cold for us, like in the upper 60s, low 70s, so I'm snuggled up. But I love that about yin because you really don't have to wear yoga clothes. You can just wear anything that's super cozy and comfy. Anyway, I thought we'd just start together in some form of a just quiet meditation. And if you want to sit upright, you can. If your day's been long and you're like, I just want to lay down, go for it. I'm going to grab a little pillow I have here so I can sit up. And, oops, I have two different color socks on. Oh, well. So, in fact, this is a leg warmer. Couldn't find the other sock here, so, and so it is. Letting yourself be, noticing your breath. And whether you're seated upright or laying down, feel the life of your body. Just feel that, because we're not going to sleep right now, we are relaxing, but feel this very awake life force within you. And to do that, you just watch the breath, just watching the inhale and watching the exhale. So there's really no rules, there's no wrong way. The art of being is just simply that. And often we're hard on ourselves, like we think we need to do it a certain way. So I believe that the tenderness and the allowing is kind of the gateway to finding more freedom. And I'm working on that every day. I'm practicing that every day because I watch the judgment happen again and again. But even the awareness of that gives us a chance to check it out, notice, release the attachment. And as one of my favorite, who I love so dearly, Sharon Salzberg says, you can start again. You always can start again. If you notice you're distracted or you start to think that you noticed it, that's excellent. Come back to the breath, not by force, just notice it, let it be. It will go away, things will change, or the mind state will change, and we're back to our breath. That's simple, just one breath in, one breath out. You might notice where you feel the breath most prominent. It might be you feel the breath in the nose, the nostrils. You might notice more the breath in the chest or the belly. Doesn't matter. Just pick one that you feel. Sense the sensation of the inhale and the exhale. What does the exhale feel like? Without words, just feeling the breath in, noticing the breath out. And we'll practice that with a sense of joy for this time that you're taking to be with yourself, to be in the practice of peace. Notice the breath in. Notice the breath out. Let's make our way to our backs. Have a roller, or you could use a block or something else. We're first just going to put it under our head, under our neck, and 2 balls. But before that, lay down flat and just feel your body as it is. Oh, notice that offloading of the spine. The value of this, of the simplicity of this is everything. As we tend to value doing more than being, the balancing out of just letting yourself be is so helpful. The nervous system, for the body. But just feel how you feel now. And we will find something to put. If you don't have a roller, you can use your block or pillow for your head. I'm going to place this roller down and have my head, I like this. It's just right on my neck, nothing more specific than that. And I think that feels really nice. So just, if it does it, skip it, put a pillow or something. But see if you can just let your head drop back, and we'll start with rolling the head side to side. You're just letting the head be heavy. Hi, Georgie, I thought you were sleeping. And now, keeping the head on the roller, we're actually going to kind of sneak the balls. We're going to use 2, and they'll go on either side of the spine, an inch apart, and the area that we'll put it is around the rib cage. And so think right where a heart rate monitor would go, or women, where your bra strap would be. So you'll sort of feel that area and sneak 1 ball in at a time, and kind of feel that they're close together, but barely an inch apart, but they're not right on the spine. They're on either side of the spine. Then you might have to kind of inch up or down. Georgie, it's time for bed. And once you find, for me, the balls got too far apart all of a sudden, I realized. So I'm going to sneak them closer, and then just find, if it doesn't feel like a good spot, you could inch up or down, but usually right around that strap line where the heart rate monitor would go, or bra strap. It's usually a nice spot. So we'll just stay, and I like to have my feet wide and knees knock in for this one, so that you can just let that pelvis kind of rest. And we're not trying to dig into the balls. We're just letting the body and the tissues melt over. This can be a sensitive spot. So just give yourself a moment or 2 to just kind of melt into it. Once you feel like you can kind of relax there, you'll just gently kind of give yourself a hug, and we're going to rock our head and our back really little. I'm actually rocking more. I'm exaggerating it a little so you can see. But you're just sort of loosely hugging yourself, and you're just going really subtle. And the idea is the ball is kind of pushing in the direction of the spine, nudging not the bone itself, but the tissues right up against the spine. And you're sort of just going side to side. And we'll find center. You can keep that hug, breathing in. Push a little on the ball. Breathe out and soften. I'll just do 1 more. Breathing in. Push into the ball a little bit. Breathing out, soften, let that go. Good, release the arms. And we'll just go right to another spot. So we'll bring the balls down all the way to the low back next, right in that C curve. And you'll see if you can lift up and just sneak the balls. They're an inch apart again, right at that C curve of the low back. And you'll just stay. For this, you can remove that unless you like it there. You can remove your whatever you're using under your head. And some days for me, I feel this, and this is all I need. Depends really on your C curve of your low back. If you kind of can settle in and you're like, wow, this is nice. I feel the stimulation, I feel a little sensation. You might just want to stay. If you need more, you'll gently lift your knee one at a time up, just to distribute more body weight over the ball, not to dig into it or try to get a stretch. And now we'll rock gently left to right. You can do this with your feet on the ground. Gently left to right. And the idea is the ball is subtly nudging in the direction of the spine. We're just trying to clear some space and hydrate these tissues by promoting fluid and circulation in this area. In the area, the spine doesn't receive direct blood supply. So this is really helpful to bring circulation to all these areas. And then you just find center and stay. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Gently place one foot down at a time. You can rest your hands on your low belly. Let your belly relax. I'll just stay for one more moment. Okay, so we'll come up to our forearms. Most that aggravates is too much for annoying. You know, it's not super relaxing, but it does give you this option. So I'm gonna place the balls closer because they kind of snuck out. And what we'll do is we'll lift our butt up and glide the balls down to right above the sacrum and up. Just a few inches each direction. And notice if the balls start slipping out. Keep them pretty close together, right on either side of the spine. You're not trying to rush this. My butt's barely off of the ground. Just gliding up a little bit and down a little bit. And we'll take about 3 more passes just up so that we're gliding the tissues in the same direction. They run up and down vertically. These postural muscles, paraspinal muscles, and the tissues are really really tight and grippy just from life and sitting and holding ourselves up all day. And now we'll come back, but bring the balls all the way to above the sacrum, and you'll know when you hit there because it's a bone, it's bony, it's a flat bone, the base of the spine. And we don't put the balls right on the spine. We put them right up there, nudge them as close as you can to that sacrum, to that bone. And now you'll do the same thing. You'll just glide up and down, but it's so subtle. And there's all these connections here at the base of the spine. So kept it tender. Next is cross fiber. We'll go side to side right above the sacrum, and it's subtle. So now we're cross fiber because the tissues run up and down, and we're going across, kind of getting at the tissues sideways, cross fibering, giving them some lubrication and just giving some suppleness. It's about supple. We're not digging in there. We're just helping soften and hydrate and rejuvenate this area. Side to side a little bit. And now find center. Take the balls out.
Put them on the side, and we'll just take a brief moment to lay down. Notice. Notice if you feel just a little different, maybe your mind state, maybe just your body might feel a little more relaxed. Okay, so now we'll grab the roller and we will work into our hips next. So we'll start with the right side. You'll just place a roller down here on your mat like this and stick your side of your tuchus here on the roller, and you can come to your forearm too if on a hand doesn't work. So I like to come to my forearm. That's a little more relaxing. You can also come onto your hand. The way I do it doesn't mean it's the better way. It's just everybody's going to be different, so you can investigate which way feels relaxing. And what we're doing is I have my left leg behind me, and I'm keeping my right side of my foot on the ground. I'm just bending and straightening my right leg and just rolling up the hip all the way up until you get to that bony prominence and down, and it's high up there. It's kind of a lot of area. So we're just doing about 5 more passes, smooth up and down, not trying to rush anything, just giving it some attention. And now you'll roll more to the right, to the side of the hip. And go all the way up again and just kind of notice how high your hips go. It's kind of surprising sometimes. And then you can even go a little more to the side. If you get toward that greater trochanter, that side bone, and you feel like you're on the bone, you could kind of back off there. Just a couple more. Maybe go a little lower. 2 more passes. Nice and smooth. And now we'll bring the roller to the side and lay down to check it out. Just breathe. That was just brief. Less than a minute, really. Lay down and see if you notice your right butt cheek on the ground and your left butt cheek, and notice if there's any differences. It's okay if you don't notice there's difference, but just bringing the awareness here is how the body's actually receiving the input into the nervous system, to the mind. So notice if the right leg and the left leg feel any different. If one side feels heavier to the ground. Okay, so let's even it out. We'll do the other side. So just whatever's easiest for you. I'll face this way, and we just kind of use the hand, sneak that left side of the hip on. You could also use both hands. Do you see this? This is sort of nice. And I'm on the back part of the hip, but look how high you can go. I'm not even on that bone yet. I'm almost up to that bone. And then you could go all the way down there. So you're just trying to let the weight of your body be heavy without digging into it and without kind of trying to do too much. With this sort of work, we're finding that less is more. Just kind of smoothly giving some attention to this area. And now you can take a couple more passes, maybe adjust your positioning. Chance to, if you just have one arm or forearm or hand down, it's a little bit more body weight on it. You might notice that. So you might need to lift up and take some out if it's too much. Again, my back foot's just kind of supporting me here, and all I'm doing is bending and straightening my left leg. So you can roll a little more to the side. And sometimes I need to switch the angle on the roller, because that can give you a little bit of this more of the side of the hip without going on the bone there. Maybe 3 more passes, smoothing up and down. Notice how high. Maybe go a little lower, the lower part of the butt, cheek. And we'll lay down. Okay. So we get to lay down in the posture of receiving. And every time we do this, we're watering the seeds of patience, of pause, of compassion, of peace into our being, and therefore outward. And you might just notice the sides feel more even. Just take a breath in and a breath out. Next, we'll do a stretch, and we'll do figure 4. So the right ankle will cross the left knee, and you'll hug it in either the hamstring or the shin. Simple pose, but doesn't, in my opinion, ever get old. And you can, so in some this kind of vinyasa classes, there's you can flex the right toe, and what that does is it stimulates, activates this lower leg muscles that supports the knee. But you don't have to do that. It's not a mandatory thing. That's only if you're really actively working and or you feel something in your knee. But if it just feels like you're getting a nice stretch here, just go with it and relax. Again, we're not trying to pull for a biggest, huge stretch in the world. We're just letting it be simple and easy. And for some, if you just keep the foot down and do the figure 4 here, that could be enough. If you feel pinchy in this right hip crease, that's okay. But if it's uncomfortable, you might want to just put your foot down and sort of use your own right hand to pry the skin, giving some leverage, traction and some space there. And then once you do that with the L of your right hand, you could also put a towel there. Then you could potentially hug in the left knee and feel a little more space. Although that ends up being a little uncomfortable on that right thumb, but you could try that. Another one you can try is kind of resisting the left shin into the hands a little. So rather than the idea of pulling in, let it go away. Let it go away from you. That'll tilt your pelvis, and sometimes that'll actually go deeper into the side of the hip socket kind of area. So my left shin and my interlaced hands are sort of supporting each other. And then it doesn't feel like you're pulling. It doesn't feel like you're desiring or wanting or clinging to get something, or just letting it be. And then we'll soften into it for a few more rounds of breath. Let's tip this formation to the left. So the whole formation is going to stay similar. We're just going to tip it on over. Arms release. And your left hand can kickstand the right thigh. So I'm not really trying to pry it away. I'm just using my fingers or fist or something to support that leg and let it kind of rest so it can feel heavy. And that you might feel this in the side of the right hip. That just depends on, you might feel it in a nice little rinse in the low back. As long as it feels nice and helpful, just intuitively, that's great. It doesn't have to be any specific spot. It's working sort of the whole pelvis. And again, the nature of this class is just letting yourself be. So really the shape is extra bonus. And you could receive all the benefit by laying in Shavasana or seated meditation the whole time. But we're getting some extra bonus by receiving these shapes as well. Sort of balance out our life. See if you can let the pelvis the whole bowl of the pelvis start to feel heavy. So the right butt's not on the ground, but let it feel heavy enough that it gives permission for the side of this right hip to kind of start to soften. And then we'll just take a few more breaths. Notice if with time, layer by layer, sometimes you feel another layer just unwind. You feel like, oh, I didn't even realize I was gripping, but something just gave in. Something a little bit more melted. Sometimes that melts just in the mind. The way we release this one is we're actually going to kind of roll to the left and let that knee just, let it be easy and just drop it over so you can stack your knees, right knee on top of left, almost like you're coming to the fetal position. And the right arm will just open up into a twist. If the right arm is floating, that might be a really nice chest stretch. That's fine. My right arm is super floating and it feels good. If that feels yucky, back the right knee, the top knee, away, and that might help settle that right shoulder down. So just find something that feels easy enough to relax into. Head, you can massage the back of your head on your mat a little bit, just coaxing the wash of the brain. Sometimes I like to keep my head in the same direction of the knees. Feels really nourishing and nurturing. And other times it might feel nice to have the head straight up or look the other way, which is more of in a power style class, you might do that. But see what feels nourishing for you. And if your hands are relaxed, I just noticed my left hand was on my thigh and was subtly gripping. That's okay, that's just, but I'm maybe gonna sneak my hand in between my legs and see if that can help it soften. Two more breaths. Just allowing it to be. Now we'll gently, with our knees bent, we'll just kind of back off of it by rolling back into fetal for a moment. And start to put your right foot down, your left foot down, and just slowly easing your way toward that so that the shape we did can kind of stick a little bit in there instead of rushing out of it. And now we'll just lay down for a moment, noticing. Nothing to think about, just notice the feeling of being. Okay, so in between sides, we'll get the windshield wiper flush. Feet wide to the edges of the mat, knees rock right to left. Just let it kind of go with momentum. If you want, you can bring your head opposite of the knees, not for a stretch, but kind of balancing the right and left side. So the right side of the brain connects to the left side of the body and opposite. And so we're just seeing if we can kind of sync it up a little bit, but sort of effortlessly. And back to center. Left ankle crosses right thigh. Maybe you stay there and maybe you hug it in. Oh. Some like to actually grab onto the hamstring too. Either one, I don't know, I switch it out. I sort of like the shin because it helps my right shin, my right leg relax. And my left elbow is subtly nudging my left thigh away to find some more space in that left hip crease. You could also nourish your hip by cradling, almost like you're cradling your own hip like a baby and rocket, side to side, nourishing it. It's just, my hip, you work so hard, you're such a nice, you do so much for me. I just want to give back to you. Give you this time to recover, and then you can find settle in just to one still position so your body can kind of marinate into it. Relaxing through the face. And so we're using that same meditative quality, which just means being with what is. And often being with what is when you're distracted, when you notice it, when you be with that. Then we come back, breath and sensation. Breath in, left hip. Breath out, back easy on the ground. Breath in, feeling the pelvis. Breath out, heavy into the earth. And now we'll ease our way to the tip, the tipping position of this figure four. So you just kind of let the legs tip to the right, and you might undo your hands along the way so that left arm can kind of come open. And the right hand might just gently kickstand. So rather than pushing it away or necessarily bringing it in, that might feel good too. You could do that. There's really, again, there's no rules. You might find your own a shape that you just discover that is just like heaven. And I say, go with that. You know, you have that inner wisdom inside of you that is very deep. And I believe ancient and beyond just this self. It's connected to something bigger, I feel. So when you tune into that and allow for that, you're the teacher, you're connected to that bigger essence. But anyway, if you want to feel that kind of allowing sensation where that left hip just can feel permission to relax, let the weight of your thigh kind of get heavy into your hand or fist or even a block if you can't reach it. Sometimes you can set things up like to just, I don't know, that's kind of interesting. I'm just sort of holding the roller here so that my left leg can rest into it. And when the body feels held, it can let go more. And we're practicing letting go, we're practicing surrender. You might begin to notice this kind of go toward the side of the hip, this sort of area. Maybe just a subtle rinse low back, side of the hip. Or really anywhere that feels good. If it feels good, it's even somewhere else, that's absolutely fine. And I'll just be still with it so our body and mind can receive the presence of this moment, this sensation. So satisfying to be with it because it's filled with life and energy. It's like a texture in there. It's even a color almost. It can almost feel a color inside your hip sometimes. Sometimes if I notice that my jaw's tensing, because there's a really cool connection with the jaw muscle and the hips. Anyway, sometimes I just almost let my mouth like drool, like that. And if that doesn't work to help relax the jaw, I might even put something in my teeth like this, and then just holding it can let the jaw relax more. You might not need to do that, but it's surprising how much the jaw holds, even when I don't even realize it. It's very strong muscle right here, the masseter muscle. And then just let all that stuff go. 2 more breaths. So we'll begin to the way we'll back out of this is slow, and we'll do this by rolling your way a little to the right, like a fetal position kind of thing. And just take a moment there. And bring your left arm out toward a twist. Right hand can soften on the thigh or in between the leg. If stacking knee on top of knee, sometimes that feels good for a breath or two. I'm just turning my head this way so you can hear, but let your head relax and you can close your eyes. Sometimes it feels nice, rinse, and even to float and let the gravity just open that left chest a little along the way. And then if that gets to feel like too much, back that left knee off. Relax that left shoulder toward earth or pillow. Maybe put something in between your knees. And let your head be easy. So we're doing body meditation. We're in a shape and we're with presence, mindful presence of our being. The body is our tool of presence. So we're feeling you in the skin, the weight of the bones, feeling what's touching the ground. Stay for 2 more breaths. So gently begin to back off, however is easier for you. Sometimes it feels nice to roll out of it into fetal, or you could just slowly bring a foot down at a time to lay down. So we'll return to those windshield wipers just briefly. Feet wide, this gives you not a lot of space for the pelvis, so just about the edges of your mat. And the knees can rock right and left. Let your head rock if you want, opposite. Massaging the back of your head. Massaging your sacrum at the same time. So really, we're getting a little kind of mini craniosacral, sacrum, pelvis, and the head. Focusing on both at the same time a little bit, giving a nourishment to the whole body. Find center. And for our last thing, we'll place the balls this time right on either side of the sacrum. So earlier we put them right above the sacrum, which feels so good too. Now we're going to bring them, we're going to feel the sacrum bone, and we're just going to bring them, it's pretty wide. It's pretty wide. So you just feel and it's a decent, so I want you guys to stay, and you'll just start to kind of go up and down a little bit on the outer edges of the sacrum. But I just kind of want to show you how interesting this is. So you stay on the ground, but sacrum is a big bone. So you stay, but if you're curious, this is, so there's the sacrum, and it's this big, flat, triangular bone at the base of the spine. And look how wide it is, that bone. Isn't that interesting? So, I think that's quite fascinating. So, and it's proprioception. It's like, wow, so you're pretty lateral there, but you're just kind of pushing the ball with the body weight up and down. And you won't go directly because it's the sacrum is shaped like a triangle, sort of. Some say a heart. And now you'll cross fibers, so you'll go left to right, just up next to the sacrum. And if you want to get a little fancy, you could do some little mini figure eights, very mini. Just try to get some of all these little goodies right around the sacrum. I have to move my balls up a little bit higher. You might play around with that. And then you can move the balls a little bit lateral, so away from the midline, just enough. You can keep it there, but I want the butt to get heavy. Knees knock in. You can rock up and down. You can tilt your pelvis, but down just a little bit. But get cozy there, and we'll just stay. We'll just stay for a few breaths, really subtle. Oh, it's so nice. If your back feels like it's arching too much, you might bring some support there under your back. Not here long. Just a breath. Seeing if your body can just get heavy and weighted onto the balls. We'll use our full Shavasana when you're ready. If you want to linger in any one of these things, feel free. As always, when you're ready, balls can come off to the side. And we'll lay our body out for Shavasana. Sometimes I like to use my heels to tuck my tail slightly, creating a little more space there. Bring my shoulder blades in ever so slightly. And we'll just lay down. If you had a blanket close by, you could wrap yourself up in a cocoon of warmth and worthiness that you are. A sweet, sweet, amazing Shavasana. And the amazing part of it is that there's nothing fancy about it. It's you being you, right here, right now. Breath in. Feel your exhale. And ease your way to some little wiggles, bend knees. Roll to your side for a moment. And then once you feel like there's nowhere else to go and you're just here, then we can come on up. Hands fold to heart. Thank you so much for your practice. Namaste.